This Wanze is a frickin' weirdo, but the saving grace is that Nero has a pretty cool design, and Usopp makes contact with Robin at the end of the chapter. One Piece, chapter 369, Ramen Kung Fu, dude. Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and adventure-filled and train car-ridden tale of One Piece. Now, our last chapter, of course, saw us with Sanji's ingenious plan of getting rid of Captain T-Bone, as well as about 50 of the other soldiers and government officials, or what have you, on the train, on the Puffing Tom, getting rid of cars 6 and 7 by luring them into there, and then, of course, you know, of course, letting them go, you know. I just thought it was great. Anyways, so that's how things left off, though, with them going into car 5, where there is this fighting cook, this Mr. Wanze of CP7, I believe it was, CP6 or 7, I think, and that's where we left off, right after we saw his disgusting ramen noodle out of the nose trick. So that's right where we pick up. And really, we wind up getting, actually, we get a brief mention of a kind of check-in to see what's going on in the cars. And for the breakdown of everybody who maybe hasn't been following along, or like me, gets a little confused sometimes, we've got, so far, so now all the soldiers are gone completely. The only thing left are 5 cars, and we've got in car 5, we've got Wanze over there, or in car 4, I'm sorry, is Wanze. And then in car 3 is the newest CP9 agent, Nero. They call him Nero. And then, of course, in car 2, you've got you've got Lucci, you've got Kaku, you've got Khalifa, the sexy Khalifa, can't forget about her, and Bluno. And then in car 1, you have, of course, Nico Robin. So Bluno asks, should I go and keep an eye on Nico Robin? He's like, don't worry, that won't be necessary. He just wants to get Franky recaptured, because the bottom line is he doesn't care about who gets lost, whatever happens. Their job is to get Nico Robin and Franky to Enies Lobby. That's it, so it's very much that's what my orders are. I didn't, above and beyond that, I don't really give a shit, so anyway, we wind up going, though, and we left off, obviously, in the last chapter with this Wanze, and this guy's just got a number of different kind of goofy, off-the-wall attacks that have to do with noodles and cooking, and not cool in the sense like where Sanji goes and hits a body part and then goes and says it in French, and it sounds like some cool French word, like just sort of like a weird, disgusting sort of character. And we see as what he does is he lures people in with just sort of, first he makes fun of Usopp, and Franky goes and tries to hit him, and basically what he does is his facial expression doesn't change. It's almost like he's got a mask on, and it doesn't change, and that kind of freaks people out, because when you go and you narrowly avoid an attack or something like that, your expression changes, right? When you're talking, you get more animated. That's just how it happens, Not this guy, though. He's just stone, and that's what it looks like, so it looks like just stone-faced. And that winds up pissing people off and luring them in. So even Sanji goes and says, no, just back off. Let me take care of this guy. He's trying to lure you in over there, right? And then he goes and he says something to the guy to the effect of, you call yourself a cook and this and that. And the guy's face is just the same, So Sanji gets pulled in and goes and tries to kick him. The dude dodges it, He's real quick. He's got this ramen kung fu. What winds up happening, the end result, is Sanji goes and he sends Franky and Usopp to go, further ahead, of course, and Wanze tries to stop them. He says, listen, just go out the door over here and just go through, go over on the roof and whatnot. So they do. They leave, and then Wanze is left with Sanji, and Wanze starts doing all different types of moves. Sanji winds up actually going, and at this one point, he winds up blocking an attack and then goes and hits him, and Wanze says, that was amazing. You kicked me, what, 10 times? And Sanji goes, 12. He goes, and the guy's like, wow, that's something to the effect of like he's amazed, right? And can't believe that happened. And Sanji's like, no, it's okay. You're just not as good as you think you are, So he's like, what? You can't talk to me like that. Not even my father talked to me like that. So we've got some weird noodle freak dude with ramen kung fu that has daddy issues. But anyway, he winds up going and after he does some other noodle tricks and what have you, he winds up going and weaving himself this ramen noodle armor suit that he can have or whatever, and then says something to the effect of, I hope you're hungry because I'm going to make you eat that. And Sanji's like, whatever, just bring it. Let's get this over. I told you I'm in a hurry, So anyway, this is not, I would rather have seen something with, and hope we still do see something with this T-Bone, because he seemed like a far cooler, more interesting character, as does this Nero that winds up getting introduced towards the end of the chapter. This Wanze, to me, just sort of seems like a goofy, throwaway character that belongs in like a comedy chapter. But that's just my personal opinion. So it's definitely unique, and that's one thing I can give Oda credit for, is that his designs are certainly different and unique. This particular character, though, doesn't really strike fear into my heart at all, but it just seems goofier than anything. But anyway, so we wind up going, we check in with Franky, and Franky is on top of the train car, and he's now facing off against Nero, and we see this guy from CP9, the newest member, and he actually looks pretty cool. And I'm going to tell you, he looks kind of like a cross between like the Antonio Banderas version of Zorro and like Mihawk. Just by the way he's drawn, and just kind of has like the slender look, and the way that the hat and the gloves and the shirt, everything just sort of looks like this Spanish like sword fighter, you know. Anyway, very cool look to him. So he winds up telling Franky, you know, he says, well, Franky says, well, why'd you, you know, I would have made it to you anyway. Why did you come up here? And he's like, well, how would I know that you wouldn't try to get past me? And Franky's like, well, yeah, that's true. You got to be on the defensive, right? You know, you gotta obviously, you know, I give you credit for that. You do. You got to be on the defensive. You never know who's messing with you, right? And then he's like, yeah, but the only question I have for you is who's that behind you or something, you know? So as Nero goes and turns, Franky just blindsides him, right? And he's just like, hey, that was dirty. And Franky's like, yeah, back where I come from, I'm the boss of the bad guys, right? I don't got to play by anybody's rules. I don't have, you know what I mean? I don't have to play and fight with honor over here. My job is to get past you. I don't give a shit how I do it, you know? And so you definitely got to admire that, I guess, about Franky, and just kind of the way he goes about it. But I love how he said that. He's just like, back where I come from, I'm the boss of the bad guys, you know? So I thought that was nice. The chapter winds up, we get, you know, one more page, and the final page is great. It actually goes into, it's the first car, and Robin's sitting there. And Robin, you know, at this point, I don't know how she could not know that there's some commotion going on in the train. But if she didn't know before, she knows now, because as she's sitting there in her seat, as it shows right over here, she's sitting there, and all of a sudden she gets like a tap on the window, and she's like, what the hell? And she looks over, and there's frickin' Usopp with his nose pressed up against the window. And she's just like, Mr. Longnose? So I think if Robin had no idea that there was anybody coming after him, that's how the chapter ends. She knows now, let's put it that way. And very, very fun chapter, and very cool. And obviously we were left hanging with what's going on. The fight between, you know, that Nero and of course Sanji, that has started or is about to start. You know, obviously Franky punched him once. And I'm sorry, did I say Nero and Sanji? I meant Nero and Franky. And then we've got Sanji and of course this Wanze. Their fight is just sort of mid progress over there. And then Usopp has managed to go and sneak around without any of the CP9 other agents, right? Get past their car and get up to Robin's car. And even if he's not able to rescue her right now, I think for me this is a win in the book of, in the sense of that Robin now knows that, you know, that she's not alone, that somebody is coming for her, and that, hey, they're the cat's out of the bag, they know what's going on, and they're coming to save her, you know. So definitely a very cool chapter, very touching, I thought. Anyway, my chapter question, though, brothers and sisters, are what are your thoughts on, obviously, the new character that was formerly introduced in this Nero, the CP9 agent, just kind of his look? What are your thoughts on him? And leave your answer to that question in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next Fun Nation.
Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and my other channel.